This video is specifically for anyone who is considering moving either to the UK or to Manchester, which is where I stay. I thought I'd make this video just to put some ease in case you are planning on making the move, but you're just feeling a bit skeptical. I thought I'd share my experience. So I moved to the UK about 6 years ago, and during that time a lot has happened, and I cannot believe that I'm actually sat here and it's been so long. It's crazy. So I'm a CA by profession, and I just finished my training program as an accountant, and I'd finally qualified, and so I was glad to have the opportunity to move across. So I moved over, and I was quite lucky that my friend also wanted to move at the same time. So me and my friend moved over to the UK, and another friend of ours also made the move at the same time. So we kind of moved over around the same period of time, and we moved to London, and we had a couple of options as to where to stay. The one office that they'd said that we could move to was Gatwick, which is somewhere around London, and the other one was Uxbridge, which is where we ended up moving to. So we ended up moving with the same employer to the Uxbridge office in London. Well, it's around London. And yeah, it was quite a great experience. Like, my first time out of the country, I enjoyed it. I loved just like the newness of the whole experience, exploring, and yeah, it was great. It was awesome until it wore out. So after a couple of years of living in London and just kind of figuring myself out and what exactly I was trying to do with my life, I ended up making a move to Leeds, and there's a whole story around why I ended up moving to Leeds. But yeah, I just was not feeling very satisfied with my career, and I was feeling unsettled around what I was doing with my life. And the initial plan was only to be in London for 1 year, so it felt like I was not doing what I needed to be doing with my life, basically. And so, having been a single woman who didn't have kids and any obligations, I said, you know what, let me take the chance, and I moved to Leeds alone, without any type of knowledge of what Leeds would be like. And I'll tell you the story about how I moved to Leeds in another video, but yeah, made the move to Leeds, and I was quite excited, but I was also nervous. And I moved to Leeds during lockdown, and my goodness, I did not know what I was signing up for. I do not regret the move at all, because it's led me to where I am, but that was one of the most rigorous, and I don't want to say most challenging year, because I've had worse, but that was quite a different experience. And during the time when I was in Leeds, I met fantastic people, which yeah, have grown to be like a part of my story, which I absolutely love. But yeah, during that time I felt really sick, because of the hours that I was working, and because of the isolation, and because I'm an introvert, I didn't realize that I needed people around me. And so yeah, I ended up just being in Leeds, being alone majority of the time, and spending time exploring myself and who I am, understanding what Cebu likes, understanding how Cebu feels when she's really alone. And I like that part of me, but I also felt incredibly lonely. And I don't think it clicked at the time, but in hindsight, I think a large part of the difficulty of me being in Leeds was the loneliness, and I didn't acknowledge it at the time. But anyway, fast forward a couple of months later, and my visa was coming to an end, and I had to kind of make a decision, like, am I staying in the UK or am I leaving to go back to South Africa and just, yeah, kind of just start my life there and be in the career that I actually want to be in, which is something to do with nutrition. I hadn't figured out exactly what it is that I wanted. And so I made the decision that I was gonna end my journey in the UK and move back to South Africa. And it was very difficult for me to make that decision. And I prayed about it a lot, and I asked my family about it. Well, actually, let me not lie, I told my mom and my dad about what I was doing, and yeah, I think they just kind of like, I was grown enough to make the decision myself, so they accepted that. And it was tricky, to say the least. After a lot of indecisiveness and not exactly knowing what I am doing, just because I was very attached to the UK because of a lot of different things, I ended up moving back to South Africa. And the moment I got there, I realized that the Cebu that I was before I left is exactly the Cebu that went to South Africa. And all the things that I feared, all the things that I was afraid of, and all the things that made me uncomfortable in the UK stayed with me, and I carried them to South Africa. And so as soon as I got there, it hit me like a brick wall that this is not the answer. Like, moving back here is not exactly the answer that I was looking for. And I'm so privileged and so fortunate to have people who supported me along that journey and to have minimal responsibility during that time. And so I took a break. I was at home for quite a while. My cousin took great care of me, and I will forever be grateful to her and to all the people who took care of me during the time, because I think I was having a bit of like, yeah, just a turmoil of, I'm leaving the UK, I love the UK, but it felt like it wasn't good for my health, it wasn't good for my mental health, and also my I have an old knee injury, and it just felt like it was, my body was collapsing, and I'd reached a point of burnout. And so I went back home, spent a couple of months there, rested, and then eventually got a job. And during all of that time, I was transitioning to come back to the UK because I was like, no. A lot of things I learned when I was in South Africa, and one of those being every single thing that you are in one place, you will be in another place. And unless you start changing things about your life, unless you start changing the way that you think, you're just going to carry your problems everywhere. So the best thing is to solve your problems wherever you are before you move to another place. So anyway, I learned a lot of lessons there and moved back to the UK, and it felt like I had new perspective when I eventually moved back. And it had been 6 months and I'd had time to rest. My body felt stronger. I felt a greater sense of purpose and clarity about what I wanted to do with my life. And yeah, and I moved back, and all of the things that were bothering me before felt different, like it felt a bit lighter. I also had a renewed faith and a renewed understanding of why I'm on earth and why God brought me to this world. And so I think that that break of just being in South Africa for a bit, it helped me quite a lot, because it made me realize, like, what is Cebu here to do? Like, what is she actually on earth to do? And so I share that because I think that a lot of people struggle a lot with whether they should stay in the UK or go back to their home countries or South Africa, wherever that might be. Because I think that that lesson is really, really important, of just understanding that whatever problem that you have, whatever thing that you haven't resolved, some of it might be environmental, yes, granted, but a lot of it is you. And your change in perspective and your change in understanding the bigger picture of the purpose of your life is not gonna change based on your location. So figure out what it is that you're here on earth for, and then you will understand like where you're supposed to be. Let that drive you, rather than a fear from the things that you're scared of, or just being a lack of contentment. That is a long story short of how I ended up back in the UK, and I hope you found that useful. So anyway, it brings me to the point where I'm at right now, and a very, very important quote that my dad gave me. He was like, you need to find a way. And I don't think he understood the meaning of it at the time, but I've been carrying that with me throughout my move back to the UK. Of whatever hurdle that I face, I need to find a way to make it work, to make it fit into the bigger picture, to make it fit into the bigger purpose of my life, so that whatever ministry that has been placed on my life is fulfilled through me. And that is basically a bit about my story. I'm gonna share a couple of segments of the story because I think it'll be nice to break it up into different chunks. But for now, I'll leave it there. The next one is probably gonna be around building community, because I think building a community is something that I've been looking for all of the years that I've been here. And again, going back to the fact that I'm an introvert, it's been really difficult just to find a group of people that I feel comfortable enough to be myself, but also to grow around. And so that is one of the passions of my heart, to build a community of people who are supportive to the things that are similar to each other. So currently building a fitness community because I'm a fitness fanatic. I love fitness and health and all things related to that, and wellness in general. I've got a beautiful church community, and I've got also just people that I've kind of come into contact with along the way. And the funny part is that I don't like knowing a lot of people, but there is so much fulfillment in sharing life with people. You cannot discount that. And it makes life so much easier when you're with people who are similar to you and who understand you and accept you for who you are, and also want you to grow and to like have an interest in seeing you grow and sharing life with you. So yeah, that is one of the passions that I have, and I hope that I'm able to help you find a community wherever you are. Yeah, I'm gonna end this video here because I feel like I'm waffling, but yeah, I'm gonna do these casual chats. If you want to see more of those, subscribe to this channel and stick around and turn on your notification bell and share it with someone who might be interested, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.